Again, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call our meeting to order for the April 15th meeting of the City of Erie Land Bank. And in doing so, I'd like to seek an approval of the agenda and the minutes from our March 18th meeting. Or if there were any questions.
I'll make that motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Okay,
I'll second it.
very good. All in favor?
Aye.
And that takes us to this month's finance report. April?
Thank you. So in there, it says the finance report and the audit update, so those are both a little intertwined. But first you have the balance sheet that is showing in the checking account $76,905.81. We also have the profit and losses on the back of that. It's showing a negative $17,311.27 for our net income. And as you know, we typically run 1 month behind from the Erie County Land Bank reimbursement, but right now this is reflecting a 2-month delay for January and February because they did not have their February board meeting. Is that right? So we just received that check last week. That'll be reflected on next Land Bank's monthly financials. And then I also included the checks that were dispersed for March of 2024. And then as far as the audit update part of it, we had updated the balance sheet. So on there, the properties have been collapsed into one category under the properties held for sale under the other current assets, so that they're not individually listing each address separately. Those are being tracked individually on a separate spreadsheet, and this was per the advice of Baker Tilly's audit team. The balances of each property on that spreadsheet are listed as the purchase price, and then any other costs associated with that are considered operating expenses. The spreadsheet's currently updated through the end of 2022 to enable us to complete the land bank audit with Felix and Glucker. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Paul. We can see you. We can hear you, too. Thanks for joining.
Paul, can you hear us? Paul, can you hear us? Probably see us, but he can't.
He can see and he can talk, but he watching the live stream on the phone. But yeah, fortunately, it's a problem. So,
Not be able to communicate.
yeah, he'll be able to talk, but
Okay.
that's about it.
So he is able to hear us?
He's able to see us, but he's gonna have to hear through a secondary link, like through Facebook.
Well, why don't we go ahead and continue with the finance report?
Sure. Yep, so the separate spreadsheet where we are tracking the properties now, it's currently updated through the end of 2022. That was able to get us to the point that we needed to be at to finish the audit with Felix and Glucker, and then Hopefully, as soon as that audit has been completed, we can start on the 2023 audit, and then the spreadsheet will be updated for that, and afterwards it'll be an accurate and up-to-date list that we should be able to provide at any time. And we are also working with Baker Tilly to update the internal process for finance to track the acquisition and sale of properties, and then update the balance sheet appropriately so that we have a complete and accurate list every time, but without having to list the individual addresses on the balance sheet every time.
So I just have to pause. I'm sorry. I'm having organizational merge here. So for the land bank's on a calendar fiscal year, correct?
Yes.
So does land bank have its own audit, or is it part of the redevelopment authority's
They
audit?
have their own separate audit.
So own separate
Yes.
audit then, okay. Thank you.
You might have been thinking the same question I had about just the timing of this. So we're still wrapping up 2022 activity.
Yeah, so the redevelopment authority's 2022 audit was completed and fine. The land bank had issues with how the properties transferred over and some of that information when we moved to the QuickBooks Online. So that needed to be cleaned up before they could complete that.
Okay.
So the land bank is working on fiscal year end 2022 and 2023.
Well, right.
Will
2023 will
follow.
be immediately after 2022 is finished.
Okay. All right.
So once that reporting issue is addressed, that should not then happen with 23, right?
Correct.
We'll know what they're looking for.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions on finance report? Can I get a motion to approve?
I move that we accept the finance report as presented.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That takes us to citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens to be heard? Does not look like it. Did we have any comments given?
There have been no comments directed at the
Okay.
board.
Okay, that takes us to report of the executive director.
All right, thank you. So in your packet, probably in the back, I told Cynthia not to like shove it in the middle, but you should have two sheets in color. One's a bar graph and the other is more of a portal of the ArcGIS for the state of Pennsylvania and the Act 152 program. March 20th, I attended the Erie County Land Bank meeting, as I do every month, to report on the activities of the Erie Land Bank. And part of that is, as you're aware, we utilize the Act 152 demolition fund that was adopted in December of 2017 by Erie County. So that is a fee that goes on to realty transfers and then gets put into the fund, which we can utilize for demolition. So the bar graph sheet identifies that in the 6 years, that fund has collected almost $1.2 million in demolition funds. 73 of the demolitions completed were city, 45 have been completed by the county, totaling 118 demolitions at $962,000. So we are at roughly about 81% of our expenditure as far as the amount collected versus what we're spending out. So we're approaching the $1 million mark. We've certainly discussed that, just to help incentive and continuously, be as transparent and advertise what we are doing. We'll do a press release once we hit that $1 million spent. But I wanted to provide it to you because the second sheet, which is the ArcGIS dashboard for the state, and I will forward the link out later on today so you can see. But it shows the total funds collected and the funds dispersed. It's showing we have 80 demolitions. This is like mid-2023 data. It hasn't quite been updated through the end of the year. But really, it was more for the map purpose to show the 24 of 67 counties on the map that have enacted Act 152 demolition fund. And of those, we are almost double the next closest municipality, which is basically Philadelphia area. So, of those 24, we're certainly utilizing it the most and putting it to good use. So I just wanted to provide that to the board for your information and just, as far as so you have that to know what we're doing and to how successful our programs between the Erie Land Bank and the County Land Bank have been. Any questions?
More of a comment. I like the visual. It reinforces what I think we already knew. But it's good to see that we're utilizing these funds and really outpacing a lot of the other counties. And I guess just a real quick question, is it still anticipated, though, that the funds will be lower than they were before, just because the number of transfers of
Yeah, it is
diminished?
anticipated lower than it has been in the past couple
and
years.
that
so,
goes beyond Erie. That's a housing issue that
yeah,
a lot of communities are seeing. So, okay, thank you.
yeah. So we're still short there.
And we'll anticipate another press announcement of some sort when you're ready.
Yeah. I'm going to work with Christy Mahaney, the
Okay.
director of the County Land Bank.
And I should know this, is this a joint press thing along with the County Land Bank, or is this just specifically the city?
No, we plan on doing it jointly between Erie Land Bank and the County Land Bank together. Is that'll we've combined to spend that $1 million.
Okay, excellent, then. Safety with numbers, of course.
Right.
Bigger impact, great. No, this is fabulous.
All right. So then the only other thing I wanted to note, the PA Land Bank Network, which we are a part of and we attend meetings quarterly on, their first Land Bank Summit is coming up June 4th. It is at the Seven Springs Ski Resort down south east of Pittsburgh. Like I said, June 4th. It's short. It's 11:30 to 4:30. I received a reach out from Winnie Breton, who is part of the Housing Alliance of Pennsylvania last week. She has asked if I would be willing to present at the conference in a session, keeping everyone engaged, informed, and involved. So myself and a representative from Westmoreland will be presenting on that at the Land Bank Network. So it's good. It's, we're getting noticed. Winnie wants to just have, our experiences here up in Erie shared with the other PA land banks across the state. So certainly open to anybody involved in land banking. So if any board members would like to attend, I know it's kind of a rough day. It starts at 11:30 in the morning and goes till 4:30. Jake and I will be in attendance. We're going to this, and then the next day is the Rural Housing Summit. So it's nice that the Housing Alliance combined two events close to each other, so it made it a little bit more feasible for us to attend.
And that's also at Seven Springs, right? The two events
yes,
are
exactly.
together then? Okay.
This is the 4th and the 5th, so. That is all I have.
If you don't mind, if you don't mind forwarding something
Yeah.
to us. Usually I can't make these, but I'd like to try, so thank you.
Yeah, and I may, same, I was aware of the Housing Summit, but not aware of this Land Bank meeting the day before.
Okay, yeah, I'll forward that out to everyone.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, Aaron, that wraps up your,
Yes, that is all I
okay,
have.
so are you going to cover solicitor's report as well?
Yes, Gene wanted me to let you know he's sorry he's unable to attend. He attended a baptism for his grandchild in Indianapolis yesterday and was unable to make it back here in time. So as far as properties are transferring, he did provide that option agreement for the board to review, which is part of the packet, and we can talk about under new business or old business. Other than that, property transfers are transferring. I met with him last Friday to go over some internal issues and such that we're having to try to streamline everything. So he's definitely dedicated to the work of the land bank and trying to clear some other things off of his plate to help make it as much and devote as much time as he can toward the land bank activities. So again, like I said, he apologizes for not being here. He'll definitely be in attendance at next month unless something else comes up. So.
So the agreement we have in our packets is the one as a result of our special meeting at Gene's office? Or am I getting this mixed up?
Yeah, so this is the option agreement that is in the packet today is in response to the proposal for 1737 West 6th Street from last month. We're still working through retooling. Our special meeting that we had at Gene's office is resulting in a lot of changes within our policies and procedures, so that's going to take some time here as we sort through all of those. So we want to make sure we get it right before we present it to the board.
So let's go ahead then and move into unfinished business and new business, because then we'll talk about this
Okay,
option in
thank
a little
you.
more detail.
All right, so in your packets are the work plan updates, 2022, 23, and 24. I guess we'll start with 24. We're still kind of waiting. We have that 4 or 6 month wait period on the tax claim properties. So we're just kind of waiting on that time period to expire. Cynthia's passing out the updated spreadsheet that shows the 4 properties that we're acquiring through condemnation. So those ones are in process as we work through those. 2023, make sure I get the right one here. There we go. About 50% of them have been demolished. Any of the other ones, demo contracts have been signed on quite a few properties between the Land Bank and the Redevelopment Authority. Really was just waiting on the demo contractor to clear a few other things they were working on and the weather to improve so that we can get those properties demolished. There is a couple properties on the 23 work plan. West 3rd Street, we deeded back to the owner. They demolished the property in the process of us filing condemnation, so we are relinquishing that one back to them. We have a couple other properties, 207 West 3rd and where is it? 306, 308 Sass. We have a hearing scheduled the end of May on those properties. We're going to meet with the condemnee here in a couple weeks to tour those properties and try to get an understanding so we can either come to an agreement or prepare for those preliminary objections. But then we do have 901 West 4th Street and 520 East 5th Street, which are both, they filed preliminary objections. We've been to court on both of those. Jake and I, along with code enforcement, toured 520 East 5th Street. The property is in deplorable condition, so we reported a list of needs back to the property owner. It is not my intent through the Redevelopment Authority to enter into a relinquishment agreement due to the condition of that property, so we will proceed forward with that one and see what avenues the condemnee takes as far as position toward our action against it before we can transfer it to the land bank. 901 West 4th Street did request a board of view. That has been requested. I know we're waiting on a scheduling date for multiple properties, so once those get scheduled, we'll update the board on those dates. But if you're not familiar with the board of view, there's the county appoints, there's a real estate attorney and real estate appraiser? No. Okay, so there's 3 individuals that sit on the board of view, and so we tour the property with them. We show them the condition of the property. We haven't really gotten to the point where they set a value yet. The last one we did go through, we came to an agreement to purchase. That was 221 Locust Street prior to their determination of the value. So we're waiting on those to be set. And then 2022, I think most of those properties are cleared. We're just waiting on transferring some sales of those. So I know that's a lot of information. So if you have any questions, I'll take those at this time.
A lot of information.
Yeah, a lot going on. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah.
We don't see a whole lot of these where we rescind the declaration. The West 3rd, can you walk me through that? Like what? So if they agree to clean it up, we can relinquish it back, or
Yes.
how does that work?
So through the condemnation action by the Redevelopment Authority, if a condemnee comes to us post-condemnation or declaration of taking, under the eminent domain code, we have the ability to enter a relinquishment agreement with them. So it's really in an effort, and we utilize it on the condemnation side of it, that in most cases I guess they've come to the point where they take code enforcement's action not as serious as they should. So when we file a declaration of taking and the property actually transfers names, they reach out and they want to say that they're going to work on the property. The difference is that now the Redevelopment Authority is the owner of the property, and we are in control and have the power over the property to make sure that something happens. So in the rare occasion we can enter a relinquishment agreement. There's a time set in that agreement. They agree to rehabilitate it within the standards set within the agreement, and then at such time we can revest title back to them, which basically just takes everything back to the time in which we filed the declaration of take and revest all liens, encumbrances and taxes become due payable again. So
Okay. So this is good, that,
it's good, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just don't see a lot of these, so
No,
that
no.
helps. Thank you for explaining.
Yeah,
that.
so I mean, I think we had West Third Street and what, was it Wayne? They demolished, we had 2 properties, I think, out of the last batch that demolished them on their own,
Okay.
so. Reed, 600 block of Reed, so, yeah.
And then for 520 East Fifth, they're objecting, are they planning to improve it themselves, or they're just objecting to?
He filed preliminary objections. He says he will rehabilitate it. It's my belief that the condition far outweighs his ability to rehabilitate the property.
So that'll have to play out.
Yeah, that'll take some time, so.
Okay.
I think that's, yeah. Okay.
Are there any questions on work plan update?
No, lots of activity.
Yeah, lots of activity. Thank you for the explanation. If no questions on that, let's go ahead and move to or let's revisit the lot purchase request that was made and then the option.
All right, so as, you know, we met last month in the proposal from Evan for the purchase of West Sixth Street, you know, and through that discussion, you know, certainly if you recall, he made mention he'd like to do some due diligence, but he doesn't really want to take on the liability of owning the property, finding out he couldn't do something with it. So the board requested a first right of refusal or an option to purchase agreement. So Gene put something together, and again, I had hoped he would be here to help kind of walk through this so we could come to some kind of a determination on where we wanted to go. But so this is the option agreement he put together. I read through it. I mean, and I'm no attorney or real estate attorney, so it seems decent to me and gives Evan, you know, the ability to have that option to get the property, and us the option to, if somebody were to come to us and say, hey, you know, I have a proposal, we offer it to Evan, he can't really facilitate it, then we have the ability to move on to that additional purchaser. So I guess I'll stop there and leave it for the board for discussion at this point.
I guess my question would be, so if we give him the option to purchase that property, how will the community know? I mean, I guess if someone else is interested in that property, but he already has the option, how are they going to know they could come to the board and request to do something with the property?
I would say outside of us leaving a sign on the property, which if we did want to do that, we'd have to discuss that and add that into the agreement, but we would not remove it from the land bank website. You know, so we certainly on a daily basis, weekly, you know, Cynthia or anyone else gets calls from people interested in properties, we direct them to the website, and that's typically where we get the most of our engagement with the public for sales is through that website. So they would see that, they would reach out, and we would take them through the same process that Evan has gone through. And it's the same process that I know, you know, Jake has talked to many people about, and Evans was the only completed application we got. So we would certainly leave it up and leave it open until such time as we signed a sales agreement on the property.
So I haven't had a chance to read this, but I guess, so how long is that option that we would be giving him?
Oh, it's a good question. I'm not sure if there's I'm sure I mean, that would be up to us. This one, it has the expiration of September 1st, 2025, 1 year from the date of this agreement is executed, all parties. So I guess it's really open to the terms in which the land bank wants to set. If we wanted to give them 90 days, 6 months, 9 months, whatever we would want to do, we could facilitate that. And certainly, I mean, we can, you know, I want this board to review this first, and we can certainly then get this to Evan and discuss that and kind of work out those details after the guidance of the board.
Has Evan seen this draft yet, or no?
He has not.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that I have enough legal background to, to feel comfortable or uncomfortable at this point. This is above my pay grade.
Well, and none of us have had a chance to read this yet, so I think, and I certainly don't want to leave the interested party, I don't want to delay it any longer.
No.
But I'd like to take this back and read it.
No, that's fair.
The dates that I see in here seem reasonable, but for example, within 60 days of commencement of construction, what's forcing the trigger to start construction? It goes back to the original point to this, is that we don't want to tie this up for a year or two.
No.
Give us a chance to read this, and I think we can email our comments and suggestions and maybe vote next month. It'd be good to have a full complement here, too. So,
Correct. Can we wait 30 days till next
Yeah,
month?
I don't see a problem. I mean,
Okay.
we certainly know, and as Evan said, we're not going to get construction this summer. We're really looking
Okay.
at planning for
Yeah.
construction, in the 2025 season. So.
Yeah. I think we're all interested in expediting everything, but to do it on in a correct and
Yeah.
comfortable manner.
yeah,
So if we can read and then maybe ask.
I think we can plan a vote next month,
Okay,
for sure.
perfect.
Okay, well, I'll forward on the electronic copy.
Okay,
That way you
great.
can make any, suggestions, comments on that.
Yeah, there might be something we want to reach out to Gene about.
Yeah, I'll
Just-
include Gene on it, and we can
Okay.
kind of, move back and forth on that, so.
Great, thank you. Okay, that takes us to housing development discussion.
All right. Jake, you want to be part of this? All right, so Jake and I have been looking at some different things, and as we talked to the board last month about, we're looking at the rehabilitation of some of the housing stock that we've been able to acquire and getting some estimates on that. And so those are forthcoming, but in the meantime, we certainly see a growing amount of lots within our area, and we've been working with many organizations, certainly, Chuck and I attended the Infinite Erie legislative briefing last week, and so there's a lot of movement in the development of vacant lots and housing, and certainly we know rehabilitation of existing housing stock is right now the most affordable. Certainly new construction, due to the rise in construction costs, just isn't attainable to subsidize, in our market, at least. So Jake and I met with Owl Homes and Alliance for Nonprofits. So Owl Homes is out of Fredonia, New York. They're a manufactured modular home manufacturer. And we certainly walked through some different floor plans and ideas there, and different things that we could potentially do to help with having options for development on some of our vacant lots. And same goes for the Alliance for Nonprofit. Their work with manufactured housing. I think they actually purchased it out of Butler. They do some veteran housing down there, 1-bedroom units. So it's kind of, we're working together to see what options are there, what our pricing is, and what the ability would be to provide really new housing on some of the vacant lots, either land bank or such, through the neighborhood groups or other organizations to make that and have some housing available. So, Jake, anything you want to add? I think the one, the gentleman from Owl Homes, and his name escapes me at the moment, but, certainly we were looking at different things and, housing. And so we can get a little bit more affordable if we go manufactured housing. And then the problem is always the city does not like manufactured mobile homes, but there's some options and some different routes we can potentially go. They're not quite the mobile homes of the past. If you're familiar with our city, it's hard to crane in a modular unit. So how can we facilitate rolling in a unit? And so a manufactured home would allow us to get that onto a lot and then place it on what would be potentially a faux foundation. And so it would not look like a manufactured home, it would look like a home built on the lot. So we toured a couple options, and we're just waiting on them to get back. It may potentially be, something we have a field trip to Fredonia or something to look at some of the options. But I mean, in being many years since I was inside a manufactured home, they've certainly come a long way, and Jake can attest to the fact that the drywall unit looked no different than a regular
Right.
site-built home. So, I mean, it was,
You know, the pitch of the roof, and if you put it up against 50 ranches in the city of Erie, I bet you can tell the difference between the two.
Right.
Yeah, and I know that the technology has improved tremendously, and I know there was a developer who developed on Cherry between 3rd and 4th, you know, two-story multifamily using modular construction, and it's something to look at, and I think that was successful, best I can tell, and so looking at, and we should probably define, because I've heard words used differently than in terms of manufactured versus modular, and to me, manufactured is something that comes in on an axle as opposed to, manufactured, but modular is dropped in by a crane and stacked, and so.
yes. So manufactured comes in with a frame with tires attached, and the tires are removed. And
Okay.
under the Pennsylvania statute, it has a title instead of a deed. So, and we were still looking into that, but, and modular comes in on a trailer and is trained off of the trailer, whereas,
Correct.
like I said, manufactured comes in, the frame stays connected, they just drop the axles.
Yeah.
So it's really the difference. I mean, modular is more of like a site-built that's assembled on the site, where manufactured is two units that are just merged together and sat
Yeah,
there.
yeah, there's a
So.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just have to make sure that we're not running afoul of any building, codes with the city, but I agree, it's not like it was 30, 40, 50 years ago. It was
Yeah.
a trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's definitely different. We have to be open to that.
Sure. No.
There are a lot of homes in the city that were modular. There were kit homes back in the day.
From Sears, sure.
Sears. You could order a home and, they'd put them up on slabs. They didn't have basements. So, I mean, they were doing this in the 50s and 60s. It's not new. So we need to remain open to that, as long as, again, it's not causing an issue with current code. So
Right.
appreciate you looking into that.
Yeah, so we just wanted to provide the board a little update of the legwork we're doing there, and, certainly, like I said, we looked at some floor plans, we told them kind of what would fit within an Erie neighborhood, so they're going back to the drawing board and doing a few things and getting us some more information, so we'll provide some follow-up once that comes back.
Sounds good.
So, thank you.
Okay, Aaron, any other business?
That is all I have for this meeting today.
Okay. Well, I look forward to next month being able to, I think we'll be better prepared for the option agreement that you provided. Thank you for providing that. We'll all exchange questions
Yeah.
if we have them. And, definitely hope to get that project together, get that deal together. So, hearing no other business, any comments or questions from the panel?
No. Thank you. I move to close the meeting. Motion to adjourn.
All right. All in favor? Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.